Well, we finally get to drive the Audi on some errands today because it's not 7,200 degrees, but it is about 6,000 degrees, so that's why we've got all the doors open, because it is hot as Satan's on here. Fill that in however you want. Got the OEM seat cover here. I'm gonna go ahead and just start the turbines up real quick. Got a little fade on the head. Just don't look at that. Don't worry about that. This car's never been to any of these places. No, actually it's been to REI. All right, so we got a lot of stuff on the... Why are you beeping so much? Low gas, low brake pads, headlight dip warning, blinker is out. All right, that was it. We got a lot to do today, folks. We took the Volkswagen engine apart last night, and the head doesn't look like it was ever machined, which gives me some pause. So we're gonna take the head to a machine shop. Then we got the Ford part back here. We've got that water pipe off the Ford Fiesta, the one that was all corroded and shit. We're gonna take that to a machine shop, a separate one, where we might have a solution, but I'm not really sure yet. He hasn't seen the part in person. We'll figure that out when we get there. All right, let's go. First stop, of course, is the all-important Sonic. If they were sponsored by Sonic, I'd be fat. I can't say that, can I? If I were sponsored by Sonic, I would not be able to fit in this car. Like, it would be insane. I would be made literally of Sonic. My red blood cells and mitochondria and stuff would be just replaced by Sonic fries and jumbo popcorn chicken. My blood would be made of blue coconut slush with Nerds R candy. The Audi specifically designed this car to hold a sauce packet from Sonic R restaurants because, man, it fits so perfectly in there. It's like it was designed. Don't mind all this junk in here, and don't certainly mind all these staples. No. And then, of course, the Sonic R chicken fits right directly into this, what some might think is a cup holder. I think it's for chicken. And then, of course, this is to hold Sonic mints. Nowhere to put the fries, though. That was a bit of an oversight on Audi's part. Actually, you know what? There's a fry holder in here, but I have failed by taking it up with all this junk and trash. So that's my fault. I'm sorry I dared insult the might of Volkswagen. They clearly thought of this. I'm the idiot. I'm the one that can't. Shit, I just drove to the machine shop, but then I realized I don't even have the head yet. I have to go to the warehouse and get it. Son of a... Well, I love Aeromet, but they weren't able to do this. And the other machine shop said the same thing. The problem is the small diameter tubing. To have a die that bends in that close of a diameter, you know, that close of a bend in that small of a diameter pipe, in their words, is a very specialty thing. So at this point, I'm really not even sold on keeping that shape. I compared it to the engine yesterday, and I don't really see why it has to have that bend. That bend is not like a precision thing where it's like a millimeter away from the exhaust manifold or something. There's a lot of leeway. We could get creative here and not have to worry about much. I've got a couple other ideas, but let's just keep running. Do not do a thing with that. Just leave it exactly the way it is. That is gorgeous. Well, that's machine shop number 3, guys. Honestly, didn't expect it to be this difficult to find someone to do this. I'm gonna take it down for a second, and we're just gonna, like, this is a piece of pipe. It's a bent piece of pipe. In my mind, it's not an extremely precision component. They were the first ones actually to say that they could do it, but they said it would cost several $100s, like the scope of $400 or $500, which is nuts. What? If I had my own machine shop, I'll tell you what, and a lot of skills and a lot of talents and a lot of experience. We'll see what happens. Just got here to the shop, but what in the world is this? What are you? Whoa. All right, see what we got here. Ugh. Well, that's a Martian Mars beetle. That's a Texan Big Tex. That's a northern white rhino. Flying beetle. That's an albino black sheep. Wow, that's pretty darn cool. Look, it's like the size of the car. See, it's got hair on the bottom of it, and out its bung, like a duster back there. Just gonna bring you in here for scientific reasons. The real question, you know, is how many more of these exist in this region? We have like a mating thing going on out there. Was that part of the ritual? Was that why it was on the front lawn? How did you end up in this circumstance, sir? I kid you not, this beetle's name is Dynasty's Titius. And it also says it's only known to be as far west as Illinois. So somebody needs to get up here and edit this stuff. I can't edit Wikipedia because I'm not mature enough. Oh. All right, we got the precious cargo. That means I had to put the wheel on the roof, which That looks totally normal just to have one wheel up there. That's fine. Maybe people think it's a unicycle. Do they make unicycle bike racks? Dude, that's an emerging market. I'm gonna invest today. Unicycle bike racks. That's some Shark Tank shit right there. You go on Shark Tank, you say, you know what? Unicycle bike rack. There's been a car crash out there. People are yelling at each other about whose fault it is. Just put that in, whatever that is. What's it look like?
3,500.
What's that?
3,500 floor.
3,500. Okay, well, I had a feeling it hadn't been machined because it just doesn't look like it had.
Yeah, usually a couple thousand on aluminum head like that.
This is off a totally different car. This is off Ford Fiesta, old 80s Fiesta. And it's a coolant pipe that goes across the front of the block. Well, I already had to cut a lot off there because of how weak the metal was getting. I've been to every machine shop in town. They say they can't replicate that because of the bend.
Probably so. I mean, you'd have to go to a muffler type shop, if anybody, that could tubing bend. It's a pretty small pipe, and maybe they don't have the dies to pinch it to turn it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
There's some kind of die that you put in a pipe that makes it bend. If they don't have a small pipe, I think this is a problem because they probably don't have this size of pipe, you know, dies to lay in their machine to bend it, you know.
They said it was 3,500 thousandths out in some areas. And while that's definitely not a clean bill of health, they did say that on a gas engine, the tolerance is 4 thousandths. They couldn't find a tolerance for the diesel engine, but from what I remember reading back in the day, 3.5, I think we should still be within the realm of running and driving. So they did say that whoever did this head rebuild, the little bit of rebuild, did a pretty good job. It's all clean, it's all nice and tight. He agreed, and I feel like we're well within the realm of just slap it on the car, tighten it down, especially with the ARP head studs that have a really nice even clamping power, and just see what happens. I kind of forgot what good news feels like on this car, to be honest. This is really cool. I think we're gonna take this home and I don't know what's next. I never know what's next. No, one thing is next. We're gonna shut this down. Oh, that hurt. Oh boy. I also showed him my pipe. The problem we're having is that this is such a thin diameter pipe. You can't just put this on a bender and call it good, apparently. I don't know anything about bending pipe, so that's why I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off trying to find a place that does. Anyway, he agreed that maybe the best option... Sorry, what was that? He agreed that maybe the best option, Well, all right then. Maybe the best option, again, would just be to make a little conversion, something about this long, that's 1.5 inch, 1.5 inch, and then the 5/16 just sticking in at an angle so that that water from the heater core flows into the flow of the main channel here instead of coming into a T-fitting. And you certainly don't want it to come in the opposite direction because then it's flowing against the current. What they did here was they brought it in at an angle so you're flowing with the current that's going this way. If we can do that same thing on a piece that's this long and then do the rest of this out of silicone hose, and we'll just find a way to clamp it up away from the block, I think we'll be good. Now, not only do we know that it wasn't resurfaced, but I have a feeling we know why, because if the previous owner figured the same thing out that we just figured out, then there's a good reason. Boy, I need to cool down. I need to get a shake. Hey, can I have a medium, is it s'mores shake?
Yes, sir.
That's what we'll do. I forgot to turn the radio off, but basically she walked up and she's like, "Oh my God, I love your car. It is so amazingly beautiful. I must have your number right now." That's normal, I guess.
All right, I'll be right back with your card.
Thanks. Just forgot to pay. I need to pay for this shake. I'm just gonna drink it. Actually, if I drove away right now and she kept my credit card, I think I'd actually be making money. Well, I just got some even better news. I found my box. We've got a shock here for the rear hatch, and we've got the ARP head studs down there in the box. See that? Boom. And Scotch-Brite pads from when I was going to resurface the head. But guess what else we have? We have a head gasket. Holy feces. That means I don't have to order a head gasket. It actually means this engine can go back together immediately, which is really exciting. It's a 5-notch, the same number of notches that came off of the head that we just did. I'm going to call and just make sure there's no expiration date on these. I've heard stories that, you know, you're supposed to use them by a certain time. This one is from April 1, 2019. which is a minute ago. And I'm also going to call and make sure that this is the right set of ARP head bolts. I got them from Summit Racing, but the box says it's for a 1.8 liter and 2 liter, which is not what I have. I have a 1.5. Call ARP.
Calling AARP customer service.
No, I'm not that old. ARP. Directly by phone. Okay, so I just confirmed that these are 11 millimeter bolts, even though the box says something different. It says 1.8 and 2 liter. Those bolts, studs rather, will work for my car. So now I got to call Parts Place Inc., leading Volkswagen specialist up in Michigan, about just everything in general. Here's something funny. A couple of years ago, I ran into a random guy who gave me his phone number about his car, and they gave me the number to Parts Place Inc. So that's weird. I don't know. How does that work? All right, so here's the rub. Here's the deal. I need to get my shake. That's the first thing that needs to happen. All right, so here's the situation. Hang on. Here's the deal. Called Parts Place Inc. They are a leading Volkswagen parts specialist. They have a shop in Michigan. They've worked on every Volkswagen probably ever made. And I explained the situation. The first question I asked them was whether I can use that head gasket. They said yes, as long as it's still in the wrapper, as long as it's not, a decade old or something, it's fine. It's not that it's going to dry out. They said if it's only a year old, it's still in the packaging, you're good to go. Now, the second thing I asked them is about the engine itself. We're getting serious when the glasses come off. I told them I have 3.5 thousandths warpage, and they said, ooh. I said, what? And they said, well, the limit is 4 thousandths. Anything over 4 thousandths you cannot machine out, and that's because the thickness of the head gasket determines the amount of clearance that you have between the head surface and the head surface. In other words, long story short, you can only take so much material off the head before it's a problem, and you basically just need to get a new head. Now, we're talking about thousandths of an inch. We're talking about, widths of a human hair type deal. And I asked them, I said, can I drive the way it is? And they said no. They said if with 3.5 thousandths warpage, you're right on the line between even being able to fix it. If you were to drive it this way, put it back together and see if it runs, you would have a lot of loss of compression. You'd probably leak oil. It would be a bad day all around. So we had a high today, and then we had come back down. You got to take some things with a grain of salt sometimes. The local machine shop, they haven't worked on Volkswagens in a long time. Also, they could very well have misinterpreted 4 thousandths as being anything up to that point is runnable, and that's where the problem starts, versus 4 thousandths being you can't go any further than that. It's still good news. We can still machine the head that we've got to work. It just means I'm going to have to take the head apart, take it into the machine shop, get it machined, and then I've already got the head gasket, which I kind of forgot I had. So what needs to happen from here? Okay, I need to get on taking that head apart ASAP. The only thing this car is waiting on at this point is me. Now, because it looks pretty darn reasonable, this engine is going to be a done deal. It's going to be workable at some point. We're going to degrease that block, make it look nice, and in the meantime, I'm going to order engine mounts. There's a 4-pack of engine mounts for this engine that's like 30 bucks. This stuff is really cheap. If you want a really cheap car to work on that gives you a lot of headaches, get a Volkswagen Rabbit. That hose that was crushed during the whole debacle where I messed up the timing, that needs to be replaced. It's an air hose. It's not the end of the world, but it would cause a vacuum leak. I think that's it, honestly. That car was in great running driving condition. It didn't seem to have any real problems. I already got an axle replaced in Oregon when I was up there. I had some brake work done in Oregon. I think it's good. Might just throw a diesel filter on there and call it good, call it a day. So yeah. So that is all for this video. This is a different style than I've ever shot before. This is just kind of following me around for a day in the life, so to speak. If you like that, please let me know. And I will see you guys next time. This shake is so thick that this straw just keeps getting clogged up. Like,